Summer's officially over. Technically, it's another 3 weeks before we officially switch to autumn. But as far as culture is concerned, no more beach trips, no more air conditioning, and no more, I can't think of anything else to complete the school's out analogy, but you get the idea. Because according to Alex Abad Santos's article, The Exhausting Summer of Nothing 2025 for Vox. I guess not really much happened this summer. Okay, a bunch of current events happened. YouTube instituted the new age verification policy, but I guess in terms of like personal things, Alex didn't have a whole lot going on. I know personally, I did a bit more than expected this summer. If we take the cultural definition of it from Memorial Day to Labor Day, I got my Nintendo Switch 2, saw a mixed bag of movies, and went up to Boston for more outings than ever, where I acquired a taste for taking the train and decided to do my movie going there. Before we find out how empty Alex's summer was, be sure to give this video a like. Comment how your summer was. If you did anything particularly special, I'd love to hear about it. Be sure to also subscribe for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations. I just realized that I was initially going to skip this particular day, September 1st, but I decided I'm going to keep the daily streak going because I was thinking of going down to 3 days a week, and Monday was going to be one of the not upload days. But anyway, if you want to hear more from me and see some videos that I generate from photos I took years ago using Grok Imagine, feel free to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord where you can see that and keep the conversation going. The link will be in the description below. But anyway, let's see what Alex had to say about this summer. And there's a literal melted ice cream. Sorry, I'm thinking of Avengers Endgame. You look like melted ice cream. Whether it's Brat, White Boy, Hot Girl, Barbenheimer, or way back to the Summer of Love, Americans love to give summer a theme. Yet in 2025, we just couldn't get it together to make this summer anything. It's not for a lack of options to get excited about. We had La Bubas, Coldplay Cheaters, and just like that, Jet 2 holidays, and a new American Pope to choose from. Nor is it a lack of trying, because there's few things Americans love more than turning a season into a shared experience, even if participation is somewhat ironic. But this summer, the only real shared theme was our unstoppable apathy. Yeah, there's probably a little bit of that. I felt it a little bit, but that's why I decided to go to Moonwalkers and Adult Night at the Museum of Science rather than just sit around for another day. Oh, I also made the transition away from cooking at home and reducing the amount of work I have to do in the kitchen. So you could call this the anti-cooking summer. You comment what you think you should call, I should call that summer based on that. Take, for instance, the lack of a Song of the Summer tradition that goes back decades, if not centuries. These days, we can usually identify it as the song blasting from car stereos as they head to the beach or similar. Despite super popular tunes from Netflix's impossibly charming animated feature K-pop Demon Hunters, the best efforts from Addison Rae's Payan to Passenger Princess Romance, and the barrage of interchangeable Christian-coded rock, there wasn't one inexorable summertime smash that defined the last few months. Charlie XCX, whose Brat summer finally ended after over a year, attempted to pass the mantle to 26 or so artists, including the aforementioned Ray. Like the others, none of these options took hold. And I'm guessing that's Charlie XCX. I know, I'm starting to sound old because I don't know who Charlie XCX is. But yeah, I guess there was no song that went viral. I'm terminally online, so I would know if there was a trending song. Yes, there was the Coldplay CEO, but but after a couple of weeks, I think everyone just moved on. Well, mostly moved on. I'm still talking about it, but I have a very bad habit of talking about something for a long period of time. Like I will mention the latest adventure I went on here in this channel numerous times. Getting back to the article, the closest thing we got to a Song of Summer was actually an 8-second soundbite cut from the low-cost UK airplane Jet 2. People shared and posted their personal bloopers, falling, flailing, failing, flopping, with the opening intro, "Nobody beats a Jet 2 holiday," but that trend was more about looking back at our embarrassing moments with sardonic glee, not a rallying cry for this summer's parties. The only thing it made clear was that the public yearns for America's funniest home videos. That's what YouTube's for these days. YouTube kind of replaced America's Funniest Home Videos, though. I did watch that back in the day, I'm not gonna lie. It's not like there weren't other dominating trends either, but no one has been brave or unhinged enough to dub the last few months Hot Labubu Summer. Yeah, I heard about these Labubus, and I saw a video of someone who was making her own to fight consumerism, which, hey, I can respect making your own version of something. It's kind of like how I used to make my own pizzas and such, despite the cost of takeout and such. But as I talked about before, I'm just going to reiterate here again. I am done with all the effort it takes to make that at home because of all the time it takes, having to share the kitchen with my parents. Ugh, it's just not worth it anymore. And you know what? I am so glad that I got away from that, and I am very glad that I'm saving pizza for when I'm not at home. It's a bit of an adjustment, but I'm making it work. The reason I say it's a bit of an adjustment is because, I don't know, I guess I'm having slight cravings, but if I'm not going out anywhere, I can always get a frozen one that I can make within that day. The summer wasn't what we loved, it was about what we obsessed with, but, like the tiny mythical elf turned plastic trinket that is Labubu, kind of hated. Whether it was Dubai chocolate, pickles, West Village girls, ChatGPT and AI, the $19 Erewhon strawberry, or Sydney Sweeney's jeans, everything we talked about this summer and for the past year seemed to be fueled by disdain. If everyone genuinely liked Labubus, they wouldn't be nearly as inescapable as they are now. Yeah, this is the first time hearing about pickles, West Village girls, and such. Dubai chocolate, I've heard things come up about it. I use ChatGPT as a tool, and I've never paid $19 for the Air One strawberry. But I did see everyone raging about Sydney Sweeney's jeans, and listen, it wasn't World War II German propaganda. It was a clever pun, a play on words. It was more about the denim jeans. You know, it's people reading into something like that that makes me read a little too much into my stuff, which slows down my production cycle. Sorry, I just had to get that out there. Oh, and on top of that, it kind of cheapens the meaning of the actual word for World War II Germans. Getting back to the article, the truth may be that we're all burnt out. And the idea of putting in the work to make the time of year we're in fun is impossible. Everything somehow becomes exhausting. Perhaps monoculture didn't die as much as we found a way to tire it out, making even our obsessions loathsome. These days, everything is 1 minute away from becoming a political culture war. Yeah, and I bet that I probably touched the third rail by giving my 2 cents at long last on Sydney Sweeney's jeans. But I stand by it because I think it cheapens, again, it cheapens the, the impact of calling someone a World War II German. And it's reading too much into what's ultimately a clever and silly pun. Yeah, people who interpret it as that, I'm sorry, it's just, again, completely insane and makes it harder for me to do my thing here because now I feel like I have to read into every little thing to make sure something like that doesn't happen. Or, you know what, I should really stop caring about that because crazy people are going to read into their things. Like, I got called a fake cell yesterday in the comments section of Loser Maxing's latest video. Whatever. Let's just get back to the article. Charlie XCX's Brat Summer, for instance, was never really invented to be made into a Kamala Harris endorsement. So when that happened, it did seem to siphon the joy out of it. There's nothing fun about being made to think about whether Harris is or is not a not brat. And it was inexorably worse listening to wonks parse out the question online. It's not unlike watching the White House's social media account vaporize the delight out of a Jet to holiday trend. Apparently, there are now people upset over the Cracker Barrel logo because it removed the man and his barrel. Is Kamala still brat? Is Cracker Barrel woke? Will Jet 2 disavow the White House? And this is apparently TikToker Caitlin Covington. You know what? This is a good time to give my 2 cents on that whole Cracker Barrel situation. Full disclosure, I have been to exactly one Cracker Barrel one time in February of 2013. For the life of me, I can't really remember what it was, how the food was, but I do remember getting some candy there, like buying it at the store part of it. But I will say, changing these logos, yeah, you're gonna upset people. And you upset enough people that they aren't happy about that. People voiced their opinions, and the company realized they were wrong to do that. Well, again, personally, I guess I don't care all that much because I've only been to that one Cracker Barrel one time, but I did enjoy it. I remember that much. And another thing, they were getting too far away from their identity. You know, everyone's going with bland, flat logo designs as well as building designs like the more recent McDonald's is, the ones that look more like the ones that everyone complain about being so bland in their design or plain, or I guess trying to appeal more to adults with the minimalist aesthetic because of the whole outrage against marketing to kids, even though they still technically sell Happy Meals. You let me know in the comments what you think about these redesigns and whether you think they're going too far and being sterile and boring. Again, I really don't have much, I don't care too much about that. Honestly, at the very least, they're probably getting away from also making the seating not too comfortable so that they can get more people in quickly. I think they're focused more on takeout and delivery anyway, because when I went to one after my day at the Harry Potter exhibit in the New England Aquarium. It's one that I've gone to in the past. It was my first time in like 8 years, I think it had been since the last time I went in there. They had remodeled, they had expanded the kitchen area and reduced the size of the dining room. Literally, the dining room was way smaller and they no longer had the soda dispenser out there. It was all behind the counter. I mean, it is what it is. Personally, I'm not against them doing what they want to. It's their business, it's their choice. And honestly, I was only there because I was on a pit stop on my way to visit my grandparents. Back to the article. These questions feel like cruel punishments. When will the United Nations step in? The battles are constant, and in this time of great socio-political upheaval, no entity truly has the level of cultural dominance necessary to declare anything that feels truly mass. Yeah, that's because pop culture is fragmented. Everyone can just go to do whatever they want. The only thing that really makes waves is something that happens in the political world or something up to a certain point. Usually because politics is pop culture to some extent, and people who do things that are completely unrelated to politics wade their way into it anyway, even if it's completely unprompted. I try to stay away from politics unless it comes up in an article I'm reading or it's absolutely necessary. But I try to talk about culture and such. My commentary is on the culture of the interpersonal interactions of people, not in the inner workings of the legislatures. There are signs that this American exhaustion is not bound to summer. Apple orchard aficionados and corn maze maestros across the country were briefly plunged into a pre-seasonal panic when it was announced that Christian Girl Autumn was not happening this year, according to the most important Christian girl who celebrates autumn. I'm not going to be able to post fall videos this year, said influencer Caitlin Covington, who has been the earnest and ironic avatar for the fall season in all of its aesthetics. Cider donuts, chunky knitwear, leaves changing, Vermont, pumpkins, etc. since 2019. Her reasoning? It was just too much. It's just a lot of pressure to make each video better than the last, to make each fall trip better, and I just really need a break this year, she added. Yep, that can happen if you do that for long enough. I mean, I feel some of that with this channel sometimes, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I guess I have a hard time topping. What did she say? It's a lot of pressure to make each video better than the last, but me personally, since I upload daily, I'm willing to compromise here and there if it's not too bad. Like, when my phone camera started doing this blur out thing you may have seen in other videos, I started covering it with gameplay footage to make it nicer to look at, I guess, with an apology for that. Actually, I tried recording this video twice already and I had to restart my phone and then my MacBook because it did it, because I found out that is the best way to make sure that that doesn't happen. Or now, first sign that it happens, I restart both because I'm not going to tolerate it. To all the 63-degree loving fall girlies, this must have been what it felt like to watch Achilles fall in the last moments of the Trojan War. Unlike Achilles, however, Covington, with a fresh blowout, announced that she was just kidding a few hours later. Note to self: make a video about quitting YouTube after 8+ months of uploading and then go back on your word at the next video. Just kidding, I wouldn't do that to you. Or would I? When Covington mentioned that she was tired, the public reaction wasn't shock or admonishment, but relatability. We're drained too. Enjoying a trend called Christian Girl Autumn as the comments talk about trad wives and gender roles? Pass. Too hard. We can't even cobble together a summer celebration that we can all agree on. The only thing we may all actually share in this fall is a continuation of our hot weather apathy, a burnt out numbness that not even a Christian Girl Autumn may fix. That is, unless Covington's fall photo shoot is really, really good. Well, I guess it wasn't really about the emptiness of Alex's actual summer overall. I'd love to know if he did anything particularly interesting. I already recapped the highlights of my summer and how I'm committing myself to going out more to get away from feeling feeling trapped living with my parents, or crowded would be a better way to put it. Rather than complain about it constantly, I decide I will acknowledge the feeling, but then I will go and do something that is an actual solution and focus on the solution rather than keep complaining about the problem. So I guess you could call this the summer of, I don't know, you let me know in the comments what you think I should call it the summer of in relation to me deciding that I was feeling crowded and I decided to spend more time away from the house to avoid that feeling. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations, and feel free to join me and keep the conversation going at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord, where I also post AI generated videos from photos that I took. I think you'll get a good laugh out of some of them. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.